Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the topic of the problem with dark movies. So for this video, I'm going to discuss the problem with movies that are very dark, like gory, cover very dark subject matter, and so on and so forth, like movies like The Animatrix, the Deadpool movie series, The Punisher, Spawn, movies like that, in a simple and straightforward way so anyone can understand it, okay? As well as give a solution as to what can be done in order to fix a problem with it, okay? So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the problem with dark movies, it simply comes down to the fact that movies that tend to be very dark, at least for the first of the two main reasons, is that they tend to encourage the older generation to be pissed and outraged, okay? Now let's keep it real though. Whether we want to admit it or not, all of us, even though we all have older relatives, to be honest with you, in our families, whether it's me or the people watching this video, and literally anyone else in the world who's of a certain age group, specifically, of course, a younger age group like Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, yada, 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 you get the point. Let's keep it real, okay? Even though we all have older relatives that we love and care for, let's be honest, okay? Sometimes the older generation can really ruin shit, okay? And that is the biggest problem with dark movies, okay? Is that sometimes they kind of take things a bit too far, and it creates a situation where it's like you have to be kind of careful of looking at that stuff, because maybe you might have a parent who might overlook what you're looking at, okay? And I'm not even speaking specifically, of course, for the person watching this video about your parent, like your older parent. That's not really something that relates to me. What I'm talking about is in general, for the overall population and stuff, okay? Whether it comes down to maybe on a personal level for some people, or even on an overall level, like the fact that they have organizations that are dedicated, by people who are, middle-aged people specifically, to monitoring what kids are looking at, okay? And the truth of the matter is that sometimes these movies that are dark tend to just be extremely unnecessarily dark, okay? They have the most effed up things imaginable, whether it could be talking about topics of people being brutally murdered, and stuff like excessively gory, topics like cannibalism, like obviously we saw the movie Hannibal, like the movie with Hannibal in it, The Silence of the Lambs, I think is what it's called, the first one in the series. Or it could be maybe other topics as well, to be honest with you, shit, like topics about like people being raped and even sometimes it even involving children or stuff. Like, some movies are just extremely unnecessarily dark, okay? And the truth of the matter is, when you do things like that, it makes it more likely that if you that, let's keep it real, like I was saying before, if you have with the amount of middle-aged people we have in this world, that they, who a lot of them don't like seeing us have fun, are gonna look at that stuff and say, okay, why do you have to cover such depressing things? Why do you have to discuss such immoral, evil stuff in movies and stuff? And they're gonna, of course, as usual, of course, no surprise, baby boomers who don't really have the greatest track record when it comes to figuring out how to not fuck things up, are gonna find a way to ruin things like they usually do, to be more exact with my point. And they're gonna start calling for movies to be regulated, greater regulation of the movie industry, that it becomes a case of, okay, like, will we be even able to watch movies that have violence and certain at all, for that matter, like movies that are actually have some action scenes and so on and so forth. Like, we're going literally back to how discussions that people had decades ago again come up. Like, that's a problem with dark movies, and sometimes they just, to sum up what I'm trying to communicate, is that they just take things too far with how they depict the stuff, and they just make it more likely that we're going to have a greater chance of legislation being done that's just going to prevent movies that are actually entertaining. In other words, let's be honest, not PC here, action movies, the only form of movie genres that are actually entertaining. All the other stuff they have tends to be boring, like rom-coms and all that fucking crap. You know, the truth is, if we have these movies, like I was saying before, dark movies and stuff, they're just going to take away our rights and they're going to screw things up. And the thing about the older generation, and I know you're smart enough to know this, literally anyone, is that they are horrible at understanding problem solving. Sometimes you'll tell them, like, there's a difference between a movie that's like PG-13 or even 14 plus with how it's made, with how graphic the topics and so on and so forth are covered, versus a movie that's like 18 plus and rated R, or even has a 20 plus rating because it's so dark. Like we've made this clear numerous times, but they don't listen. A lot of them came from a generation where it's either a yes or a no answer, and whenever you do something, for that matter, they're going to give something that comes off in a yes and a no way. Instead of actually trying to realize, we can kind of compromise things, they're not going to do that. They're just going to get pissed and say, why would any human being want to watch something like this, and just call for it to be bad, okay? As usual, baby boomers have a history of literally ruining everything, okay? I'm not saying all of them or the majority of them, but a lot of them on the real, though, I go front though, really know how to ruin shit for everybody else, okay? Just like how pretty much your principal in your school, specifically if you're a millennial, was a baby boomer, some of the older generation, and they just ruin shit for everybody else. Sometimes people are having fun and just give a random suggestion and stuff, and they fucked it up. Let alone all of their ideas on how the school should be run, like the fact that you can't hit somebody back and a lot of stuff, is an example of baby boomer logic. They actually do, a lot of times, really do ruin shit, okay? And the truth of the matter is, when it comes to, of course, shit, entertainment, that a lot of them have literally decades of holding a grudge against the entertainment that's been made. If you do things like this, it just makes it more likely they'll say, you know what, I'm gonna find a way to fucking prevent good quality action movies from being made, which relates to something, that of course, at least in terms of a mindset, that doesn't even have to do with the actual overall genre, okay? You just watch a few silly movies that maybe took things a bit too far with how dark it was, and now we're going to generalize everything, like baby boomers always do. They just generalize everything. And that's my first point, okay? Why I have a problem with dark movies, okay? The second point, of course, is that sometimes, even aside from that topic, it just simply comes down to the fact that sometimes these movies, I'm not even gonna lie though, sometimes these movies really do have a really nasty negative effect on your brain. And it is a well-known fact that there are movies out there that people will say that, with a good example being like the Serbian film. I haven't watched it, but I've heard it was a horrible movie. It's truly one of the movies you watch only once and never watch again. Like things like that. The truth of the matter is sometimes you do look at movies, and in all honesty though, you do look at them. If you decide to watch them, your curiosity gets a hold of you, and you do look at it, and you just, once you leave, you actually do think about it for a week or a few, because it was so dark, everything from the atmosphere, like how they depicted this stuff, like the lighting of the movie itself, to even just straight up how unnecessarily depressing the topic it was covering was, to even just straight up the music score, and even just how gory it was, all that stuff, it kind of sticks in your head, and it actually can make you feel a bit depressed. And that's kind of the problem I have with dark movies, okay? Because of course, like everything, there's something for everybody. There are movies that are meant to be lighthearted, there's movies that are meant to be dark, because not everybody's into the same thing. And I don't get me wrong, like I know that, but there's a difference between like, okay, this movie is supposed to be dark versus this is kind of taking things a little bit too far, okay? Like for example, certain type of movies ideas, it's just like, is there really a need for that? Is there really need to be having movies that cover the topic of cannibalism, and not just cannibalism like eating someone's raw flesh, but like literally cooking it and even serving it like it's like it's a dish, you know, like you're getting at a five-star French restaurant, or like, or maybe topics like, you know, people being sexually abused, specifically young people by older people. Like those are things that some movies cover, and it gets to a point like this is actually really fucking creepy. Like, is there really a need for this type of shit? Like, why are you showing this shit to people? Like, where's the entertainment factor? The entertainment factor comes down to the plot itself, not just how outrageously dark we can make a movie, because then that's a case of you're just trying to sell something based off of controversy, and that's what I'm trying to get across here. Okay, so that's a problem with dark movies. Okay, uh all I have to say to end this off is that you have to learn, when you're making a dark movie, like everything, there's something known as drawing the line between something that is just dark versus this is taking things too far, and that is the truth. So anyway, this is my video. This is all I have to say, and simply put, I'm out. So bye.